Hi, it's Yvonne from the Fabric Hut. Hey, on our binding today, we're coming to the end. This is our last one for now. If there's another one that you would like to see, just let me know and I'll make a video for that. But what this one is today is what I use as a utilitarian binding. That means one that I don't really care that it's heirloom quality. It doesn't have to be hand stitched. I want it done quickly, but I want it done nicely also. So what I'm going to do on this one is we are going to sew it to the front, but we are also going to sew it from the front to the back. And there's a couple of tricks to do that with. So I'm going to walk you through the process of a really quick machine-sewn, not machine-sewn, hand-sewn, those sorts of things. We've done that one. So come over to the machine and let me show you how to do this really nice, quick utilitarian binding. This is my favorite binding method when I am doing something that I need to get done in a hurry, or something that is going to be used a lot and I'm afraid that hand binding might not hold up. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with my normal binding. This is a 2 1/4 inch. 2 1/2 works well also. I just prefer 2 1/4 because I want this to be a nice small binding. So I have a 2 1/4 inch binding. I did do my angled join and I've pressed it in half. Now I'm going to do one more thing to this before I attach it to my project. And this is just this little magic touch here. I'm going to use a double stick fusible web 1/4 inch tape. Now I have Steam a Seam too. There's a bunch of different ones out there, but I'm going to adhere this to the folded edge of my binding. I'm going to start here. And this goes really quickly, and I'm just going to add it close to that edge on the folded edge of the binding. Just like this all the way down. Now, we'll see if I have enough on here for this. Otherwise, I'll open another packet. On this today, we are playing a little bit of chicken. I'm playing chicken whether or not I have enough tape on this roll. And I'm playing bobbin chicken. I have I hope just enough blue bobbin in there. If not, we will have to stop midway and wind a new bobbin. But I'm going to be brave this morning and see if I have enough there to not have to wind another bobbin. We will see. Got to add some sort of mystery to your life, and if bobbin chicken is all you got, then you're living a pretty blessed life, aren't you? I know I am. A very blessed life. Okay, so I'm about halfway through here, and I'm just going to, look at there. Okay, I lost chicken once. I guess I'll probably lose it the second time too. You're going to want to go all the way down on the folded edge. There we go. Let me open up my other box. There are 40 yards on this. So it's not a huge expense. Okay, there we go. Look at that. It comes with this brand comes with 2 of these in each box. So I think there's 40 yards of it. So that's a whole lot of binding. Now, do I do this on every quilt? No, I do not. Sometimes I will do it if it is going to be a quilt that I want to hand bind. And I'm going to take it places with me to work on. Like if you have to go to a lot of baseball games or something and you want something to do while you're sitting there, I will do this because then I don't have to take clips. But for the most part, I only do this for small projects or quick projects. Okay, all the way down. Now I'm going to add this to my project as if I were going to hand stitch it. Add it to the front and then hand stitch it to the back. Okay, now if I were in fact going to do a hand stitching, I would make sure that I left a good 1/8 of an inch there so that I wouldn't have to stitch through this tape, because that would just be a little bit much. Okay, So I've got it on there. I'm going to start here in the middle. I'm going to leave my tails so that I can do my piece there in the center. And I am going to sew this with the tape up. I do like to take the tape off at this point. It comes off the paper side comes off real easy at this point. The only reason I do is because when you get to the corner piece, sometimes it's harder to get the paper out later on because of the fold. Okay, here we go. Well, it's going to be a little bit stinky this morning. That's okay. There we go. I do have my trash can right there. I'm not throwing it on my floor, although I have been known to do that. I have hardwood floors in my sewing room, so it's nice to just be able to come in with a broom later and clean up my mess. Okay, come on. That one's a little sticky. There we go. Now, got a little bit of a flaw there. It doesn't matter. I just want to hold most of it down. This is not like it's going to be the only security it's going to have. It is not. I'm going to also sew this. So this is just going to hold it in place for me when I come back. Have you ever applied the binding to the front, flipped it to the back, and then tried to machine sew it down? And you get a funny crooked line. It doesn't sew smoothly where you want it, and so sometimes it's on the binding, sometimes it's off, sometimes it's on a whole bunch, sometimes it's just barely catching it, and it just doesn't look smooth on the back. Well, that's what we're going to prevent with this technique. We are going to make it to where it's going to be nice and smooth all the way around on the back and on the front. Okay, I'm almost done peeling this all off. Well, I thought the reason I'm struggling is because I have not let it cool sufficiently. When you do this, the paper comes off a little bit better when you let it cool sufficiently. I'm in a hurry today, and I just didn't do that. Okay, so I still have the tape. See, you can barely see the tape, but here it is, tape side up. And I'm just going to bind it as I normally would, taking a real shallow 1/4 inch seam all the way around it. I'm using my 1/4 inch foot with the guide, so I'm sure that I'm staying nice and even. You could use your walking foot. Because I had sewed this seam around and made sure it was nice and stable, I'm not going to have any movement, so I can use this foot. Okay, to within 1/4. I'm going to stop. I could have sewn it at an angle. I didn't this time. Foot up to where it's even here, flip it over, and continue on all the way around your project. Just like we've been doing in all of our binding videos. Come on. There we go. It was being a little stubborn. If you remember, we have 2 layers of fabric, a batting, all this fabric, a batting, an insole bright, and a back, plus these 2 layers. So this machine is having to work right now to go through all these layers. And I'm having to give it just a little bit of help because it is struggling just a little. But it's going to do it. It's going to make it for me. I do have a different machine I could be using that's a little bit stronger. But this is a small project and it's going to do it. And we're just going to see if we are going to make it around with that blue bobbin chicken. I don't think I'm going to. But you know, it's always fun to try. Okay. And here we go up this side. Okay, so what is happening here is my foot is getting stuck on this sticky part of the tape there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, and you can come up with any sort of way to do this, but I'm going to just take a piece of paper and put it right under that presser foot on that side so that the foot can't adhere to that gum, and it'll just go smoothly right through. Put that down. And look how much smoother that's going through because I have covered up that stickiness. So between all the layers of fabric and that little bit of stickiness there, I could have left the tape on and I wouldn't have had that problem, but you know, I'm living on the wild side today. Okay, we're about halfway around. Notice the paper's not even getting close to the needle because I'm just putting it right under, just covering up this sticky, because the seam is sticky on both sides. So it can be placed a couple of different times and then ironed down. And that's what I want, is that little bit of sticky when I come around to my next thing. Notice I am applying it to the front of my project. I'm going to be applying it to the front and wrapping it to the back. Okay. Getting close to another corner. I can stop and go at an angle if you want to. If you can fold your corners at a nice bias without that, you don't have to, but that is an easier way to get your nice 90-degree corners. Okay, so this side, it looks like I have the tape up far enough it's not going to get caught in that foot. We'll see if we have that problem again. We know what to do about it. And right to the corner and off. Okay, we are on our final, oh, look at there. I did lose my bobbin chicken. Okay, so I'm going to wind a new bobbin and be right back. Okay, crisis averted. We have rewound, ready to go. Back up to this corner. And our final side. Here we go. I always want to start quoting Peter Pan right now. Straight on till morning. And I don't know why that is, because that really has nothing to do with what I'm doing. But, you know. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm going to stop right there and do our little connect. Now, we're going to overlap it. I'm going to cut off just a smidge here so I know how far to overlap. There's my bottom. Here's my top. We are now overlapped the same length, and I'm going to cut this one right at the same length as that overlap. There we go. Okay, we're going to take the top one and simply open it out and lay it flat. We're going to take the bottom one. I'm going to flip this up so I have more room. I'm going to just lay it on top without twisting anything and open it up and sew my diagonal. If you need to, stop here, put a pin in it, double check that you've got everything right. Sew your diagonal like that. And then double check. Look at there. Okay, trim this baby off. Fold it back over so I have some room to work here. Now, at this point, I can't really bring my iron back in to press this seam open because I do have that tape on there. But I can finger press it. See, because here's the tape right here. We don't really want that on the faceplate of my iron. So we'll just give it a good finger press and open it out and finish it off. Okay, so now we will have had the entire binding attached to our project, in this case our potholder. I have a little bit of fullness there, but that's okay. It's going to be hidden in the binding. Okay, we're going to come back and clip our corners as always, because that's a lot of fabric right there. We're just going to get it clipped off so that we have a nice smooth corner. Now these are the two that I sewed to the end, so it's a little bit trickier to clip the corners there, but we'll still get it done. Just take away some of that bulk. Okay, now at this point we need to bring our project back to the ironing and turn it over, and we are going to wrap this all the way around to the back, and we are going to press it down right there to the back. Now you can see here's my blue thread. I have white from my other sewing, but my blue thread is adhering the binding on. So I need to make sure that this is covering that blue thread. So right there, I'm going to just roll it over and give it a good press. And I'm just leaving the iron on, so while I'm adjusting, I'm not picking the iron up and moving it with me. I'm just leaving it down so it gets a little extra heat on that piece as I'm putting it over there. Okay, just like that. Now, if I were in a really, really big hurry and on my way to a 4th of July picnic at this point, this would be enough to get me through the day. It would be bound enough to get me through the day. However, it is not bound enough to finish this project in the long term. I know they say that Steam a Seam will finish it off for you and you don't have to sew it down. I just disagree. I like to make sure that I have it completely done. There's my little mitered corner. Okay, so I'm going to press all the way around this, get that adhered down. See, it's not moving anywhere, and that's where you end up with a problem when you're trying to sew from the front to the back, where you end up with a problem and have a wonky stitch on the back. Right there. You do need to make sure that your thread is matching your binding. That's why I went ahead and wrapped another spool of blue thread, because you do need your thread to match your binding really well, to hide it as much as you can. Get this on there. And I'm trying to keep it nice and straight, making sure that I'm covering that blue thread, but I want to keep it as straight as possible. See right here, it has a little bit of an indent. Oh, excuse me. I'm going to take that off and pull it in just a little bit more so it's nice and straight. There we go. And finish this around all the way. Now, as I'm coming to the edges, you see how it's not getting pulled quite as far over because there's just so much more thickness there. You just have to make sure you're covering that blue line of stitching, or whatever color you've used there. This is not the type of binding that's going to win you any awards at a fair or a quilt show. This is a utilitarian binding that you're going to use for projects that you are making, that you love, and are going to use and use up and make again. This is not an heirloom quality binding in any way, but it certainly is a quick and easy one. Okay, and I need to smooth out that little area right there that has a pucker. Okay, and one last end, and we are done. Got to pull this out nice and snug. Okay. Now the trick to this is, you know how when you sew binding from the back, you can't see where it is on the front. And when you sew it from the front, you have to worry about whether you're catching the back, right? It is now hooked down to where you know you are going to catch the back as long as you stay in this seam right here, where this is what accounts for that blue thread here on the back. And as long as this is fairly straight, it is going to look nice and straight on the back. So let's see what we can do. I'm going to take off my 1/4 inch foot and put on an open toe foot so that I can have really good view of what I'm doing. And when I did that, I unthreaded my needle because that's just, the type of day I'm having. Let's see if we can get it threaded in there again. I have the camera kind of in my way, so come on, baby. I can do this. I know I can. Sometimes when you put your finger behind it, you can see the hole a little bit better. Did I get it? I did not. So, know that everybody struggles threading their needle. Also, one of the things that sometimes helps is if you turn off your machine, that bright light shining off of the needle is not in your way. In this case, that didn't really help me. There are a number of needle threaders you can use. There we go. I have a little bird threader that I like to use too. Remember my little green bird threader? They are very helpful. Okay, here we go. Now I am going to stitch in the ditch right down that seam, and we will see what it looks like on the back. Here we go. It is going to be virtually invisible on the front because it is stitching in the ditch with blue on blue. Go to the center and pivot. So this is sewing on the front and machine sewing from the front to the back with the aid of some fusible tape. I won't go all the way around this. We will stop here at the end of the pocket and turn it over and look at the back. Okay, we're going to just stop right there so you can see what the back looks like. And look at that. It stays nice and even all the way around. You've caught everything. And it is absolutely acceptable for the type of project this is. So I hope that helps with one more way to bind. You have so many options now. If you have forgotten some of them, refer back to the binding series in the files, and happy quilting.